Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jess and I started pole dancing 2 years ago at almost 300 pounds and I've made a lot of progress since then. I always get a lot of questions about my journey, so I decided to start my YouTube to help anybody that is starting their own pole journey and offer advice where I can. And today we are talking about my biggest challenges as starting out a plus size dancer. This is just from my experience, and for anybody that doesn't know, I am a pole dancer at home. I have never been to a studio, so these challenges are based as a plus size dancer and teaching yourself at home. So the first biggest challenge for me, and it was the one that I encountered immediately that I set up my pole, it was my weight and holding my own body weight. I really did think that when I set my pole up I would be able to just jump on and spin around, and I was hugely disappointed when I realized that wasn't the case. Even once I found out the proper ways to do certain moves, I still just could not hold myself. So being almost 300 pounds was a huge setback for me. I often have people tell me like, oh, you were so strong in the beginning, like you were able to lift your weight at that weight. But what they don't know is that I conditioned off the pole for 3 months before I was able to get both of my feet off the ground. I took conditioning very seriously in the beginning because I knew that I had to gain strength to be able to lift 300 pounds. Even people that don't have a lot of weight to hold struggle with pole because it is very difficult. So if you have more weight, you're going to have a hard time lifting yourself, and you're going to have to put in some work to make your muscles stronger so that you can hold yourself. Something that stuck with me for my whole journey that I sometimes offer advice to other people is you would not expect someone that's 120 pounds to be able to lift 300 pounds. So why are you expecting to be able to lift 300 pounds? It's totally different for someone that weighs 120 pounds to go into a studio and be able to do these beginner spins. So hands down, if you're a plus size dancer or you're just starting out or you're thinking about starting out, that is something that's going to play a big part in your journey. It is hard to lift your body weight off the ground. Another big challenge was not having proper resources on how to teach myself. I remember Googling and YouTubing, like, how do I lift off the ground, or super beginner spins, and yet the spins that were coming back were like the fireman spin, the front hook spin, the back hook spin, and yes, these are considered beginner spins, but I still couldn't do them because I wasn't strong enough to do them. So at that point I was like, okay, well, how do I get to that point then? And there's nothing out there that says this is what you have to do. It's just kind of like you have to figure it out for yourself. There's no tricks for, well, how do I lift my feet off the ground? The simplest answer is you have to condition. You have to gain the strength to hold yourself. Eventually I found StudioVina.com, which is how I was starting to teach myself at home. But even in Studio Vina, she has a 30-day takeoff program for beginners. And I couldn't even do a lot of the exercises in that to gain the strength. So I really was lost on what to do. I did have a really hard time figuring out, well, how do I gain the strength? Like, it's very overwhelming because there's so much out there, and finding my own routine was everything. Once I found my routine, I was able to start gaining the strength needed to spin. If you're in a similar boat to where I was, I actually have a 7-day conditioning plan on my channel. It's in its own playlist, so you can go find it nice and easy. The 7-day conditioning plan is designed super simple. I like to keep my stuff simple. I do a lot of the same moves. It really doesn't have to be complicated, but it's just a matter of figuring out what works for you and what's effective for you. Another one of my challenges was not being able to talk to anybody and not knowing if what I'm doing is right or wrong. I didn't have Instagram back then. I didn't know there was a lot of people with bigger bodies doing pole dancing. If I had Instagram, I would have seen like, wow, there are a lot of the same body types as me doing these moves. But I didn't have that back then. I was literally on my own. I didn't even know if pole dancing was possible for someone my size. But I'm here to tell you that it definitely is. But on Studio Vina, there's a little forum that you can ask other pole dancers questions, and I ended up finding a woman that lives halfway across the country, and she had a similar body size as me, and I saw her videos on there. She was like climbing up the pole, she was doing spins, and at that point I couldn't even lift my feet off the ground yet, so to see her be able to do it, I was like, wow, like it is possible, and I really, really wanted to talk to her. So eventually we got in contact, and having someone to go back and forth with was huge for me. I don't know what it's like in a studio, but I can imagine having somebody there and having multiple people around you doing the same things. I feel like it would be a lot easier that way to have someone right there saying, do this, not that. So that's one way that finding somebody to talk to was a huge help to me. Overall, pole dancing is extremely hard, but I think being a pole dancer at home definitely has its own challenges. If you're in the same boat as me when I first started, I just want to let you know that I am always open to talking. I know what it's like to be able to talk to somebody back and forth and to get advice when you're a home poler and you have really nobody else to talk to. So always feel free to message me. The easiest way to do that is probably on Instagram. Feel free to leave comments as well under there and I'll get back to you. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great week this week. Bye!